So what are your pick'ems? Who do you sit down this week?
All right, well, I have a few sit starts this week. We can go ahead and start with, let's see, I'm going to go Darren Sproles. Definite, we do a PPR league. Most leagues are PPR. Standard leagues are boring. Stay away from standard leagues. PPR, Darren Sproles is an absolute beast. You got Atlanta giving 5 catches a game last year to running backs. So Sproles is a definite start in my book. As far as my sit for the running backs, I really hope that Ryan Matthews can get back on, track to where he was 2 years ago.
Such a Ryan Matthews hater.
But I'm just not feeling it against Houston. He's going in against a really good defense. It's going to be a stiff front three with that front seven just being monstrous. I just don't see him having a big game against them. So, honestly, I would sit Ryan Matthews, start Darren Sproles.
I know Mike's already a Ryan Matthews hater, so I'm not even going to go into Ryan Matthews. I have him on one of my teams. Honestly, I haven't even decided if I'm going to start him yet. I agree with you with the whole Texans, their defense, but they're not, they're not Lex Luthor. I mean, you can break through them and score. If they get within the 10, Ryan Matthews is going to get the ball. He showed in preseason that he can score, and he's starting to look like his old form from not last season, season before. For me, I'm going to start DeMarco Murray. I know he's often injured, but let's face it, against the Giants last year, first game, 131 yards he racked up on the ground. Again, injured a lot, so you know how long you're going to have this guy. So week 1, you'll definitely have him. And he proved through training camp and through the preseason he can stay healthy. So I'm going to put DeMarco Murray in there as possibly running back 2, definite flex option. I'm not too excited about is Eddie Lacy. I know everybody's like in love with Eddie Lacy, especially since they got rid of DeJuan Harris. They got rid of Alex Green, who the Jets now have. So you think, all right, Eddie Lacy's there. However, 2 games last year against the 49ers, they only gave up 71 rushing yards from the Packers. So the 49ers, they just bottle up those running backs, and they don't let them get anywhere. And I think you're going to see Aaron Rodgers throwing it around the field more than Eddie Lacy just running the football.
I'm actually a big fan of that start sit there, Dom. I think that's a big-time no-go on Eddie Lacy. First of all, the Packers don't really run the ball as much as you'd like to see it ran. You're looking at maybe 17 touches a game for him. He's going to be the featured back, but against San Francisco, I don't see much from the rookie. So, on to the next. For the next start sit I had, I went wide receiver position. I went with Pierre Garçon. We're looking at the Eagles versus the Washington Redskins, and Garçon is, of course, RG3's favorite target. Last year, I believe Philly gave up about 34 points per game to opposing wide receivers. So I think that a couple of wide receivers for Washington are going to be in for a big game. It's going to be huge for Garçon to get back on the field with RG3. There's going to be a lot of momentum there in Washington. RG3's back on the field. Fans are excited. I think they're going to make a splash this first game of the season. There's going to be a lot of offense because Chip Kelly's going to run a lot of plays for the Eagles, putting their defense back on the field, and that defense is atrocious. As far as my sit goes, I'm going to go with Mike Wallace. I'm not a fan of Mike Wallace this year. I know everybody's hyping him up, but I'm just not a fan. He's got great speed, but there was a lot of games last year where Mike Wallace didn't even get over 10 points as a fantasy player.
I had him last year. It was painful.
Yeah.
I drafted him as like my number 1, actually, and he was just atrocious.
And you got to remember that he's going to see a lot of Joe Hayden that game.
Yeah.
Hayden is going to be on him, locked on one-on-one, and it's going to be a pretty good battle.
For me, for the wide receivers, who I'm loving this week is T.Y. Hilton of the Colts. I think the Raiders' defense, they're just awful. I've seen high schools around here that are better than them. So I see Luck just airing it out, and I'm not scared at all about Darius Hayward-Bay at all. Hilton, I think, is just going to sprint past everybody, and you're going to see big touchdowns from Hilton, not just like these little screens. It's going to be a big touchdown from him. Reggie Wayne, of course, will get his targets too, but I'm loving T.Y. Hilton as a flex this week. Not too high, surprisingly, because I went after him in drafts, Cecil Shorts, but not this week. Gabbert's coming back still with that injury. I think they're going to establish the running game this week with MJD coming back. They're just going to pound the ball like crazy. Again, there's no Justin Blackmon just yet. We still have 4 games till he comes back, so I think they know the only weapon that they actually have on that team is Cecil Shorts. However, they're just going to blanket him and just get him out of the way, leave MJD the door wide open, and I don't think you're going to get much out of Shorts this week. Now, for the whole season, just this week, I do not like Cecil Shorts.
Cecil Shorts probably has a few good weeks in him this year. I think Blackman's going to develop into that go-to guy for Jacksonville at some point this year once he comes back from his suspension.
Yeah. If Blackman's on your waiver wire and you got a few stiffs on your bench, don't be afraid to grab him.
Now I'm gonna throw you something that should be a given this week. Gonna go defense here. So, if you don't have one of the top tier defenses, say a Houston defense or say a Seattle or San Francisco, even Denver, you want to take a look at the BUCS matchup with the Jets.
Yep.
You got a rookie quarterback, Geno Smith, coming into the game, going toe-to-toe with a defense last year that gave up a lot of passing yards, but is much improved. They brought in Deshaun Golson. They brought in Darrell Revis. So you got two players that are coming on that are Pro Bowlers. So you don't really want to send a rookie into that type of atmosphere. I know it's a home game, so it should be a little easier on him, but I think he's really going to struggle this game, and the BUCS defense is probably gonna get them to turn the ball over a couple times.
Yeah, I agree with that completely. I think this is the week to have the BUCS defense. I think anybody against the Jets right now, you start their defense, you're going to score some points. You're going to have a bunch of takeaways from them. I just think they're a complete mess right now, and I don't even know if they're going to get any better even when Mark Sanchez comes back. I just think that team is just getting worse and worse, and they're pretty much the Titanic.
There are probably two teams that you want to go ahead and start the defense if you're playing matchups, and that's against Oakland and against the New York Jets.
Yeah, it's a bona fide start right there. You can't lose going against both those two offenses. I'm going to talk about quarterbacks. Now, everybody, there's people who love their quarterbacks. They take them in the first round, second round. Some people wait late. Some people take it always to the end. So I'm going to talk about some of those quarterbacks. Great week one start, believe it or not, is Matt Schaub this week. He's playing against a very weak secondary in the Chargers. They got a bunch of old people and unproven people in that secondary. I think Schaub's going to go crazy just passing it around. Plus, Arian Foster's still coming back, so they're not going to just give him the ball, make him run it 30 times. It's going to be more of a passing game. Andre Johnson is going to go wild this week one. Also, really quick, don't sleep on Jay Cutler this week either. Every week one, he throws for 300 yards. It's like a proven stat. So don't sleep on Jay Cutler. I did it a year or so ago. I didn't believe it. Did it again last year. Go with Jay Cutler week one if you have to, if you didn't draft like another elite quarterback. Andy Dalton against Chicago this week, I don't like. The Bears D had 24 picks last season. I don't like him just because A.J. Green is not there throughout the whole preseason, throughout training camp. I don't see the chemistry there yet. I'm sitting Andy Dalton. All right, that does it for this week. Just know with these picks, there is no gray area in them, just black and white.
See you next
See
week.
you next week.